is what it is. We're the only group in this whole entire region that is even working against the guards. There's no one else. If there
What
was,
what
then we would know.
what about the thief? Does she
Uh,
work with you?
the thief works alone, but uh, I do know who it is, and they only steal for money and hoard it. They don't really have a higher agenda, from what I
Hmm.
can tell. Maybe it's a saying to the mayor that no one is safe and that he's hoarding too much money, but she simply likes the thrill of uh, the heists.
Well, rumors are not. It is fact that this either is in Tao, and there's also a wizard. Uh, you should be on the lookout for trouble. Just a heads up.
I've been fighting long enough to not be dissuaded by such things. If the ether or a wizard comes, and it seems that we're outnumbered or outmatched, we will simply flee. But it should not be an issue. If it bleeds, it can die.
I agree, but still, knowing ahead is half the battle. So, and I slow my step to catch up to Leary back.
Hmm. He continues looking at the same pace. He looks at you perplexed one more time from what you just told him, but then doesn't really pay it much mind afterwards. Um, you,
Yeah, so I whisper back to Leary like he claims not to be even capable of blowing up buildings, and that no other groups would be capable of. Only the wizards would have access to it. Also, that the thief is not working with them, apparently. But I look around at this group of guys. This resistance.
Mhm.
Do they really give me the ragtag vibe of scrapped freedom fighters?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, they can't really get weapons unless they go through the military, so they scrap up what they can. Um, Most of the gear is in poor condition or is extremely old.
Yeah,
And
I nudge my head towards the group in front of them and say, I don't see a reason not to believe him. I mean, look at these people.
she nods and relays this conversation over towards you, Arctur. Says, "Well, they're not the terrorists that you're looking for," and they say that there's no such group.
And
She
I'm
relays some more.
apt to think that we're coming after you guys tonight. And the ether is either just feeding us a line of bullshit, or she's been fed a line of bullshit.
I whisper to Leary, like, you guys should keep in touch where each one of you is heading to see if we're converging. And we will know ahead of time whether we might be in conflict or not. So.
Can we get any sense of if we're getting closer to each other, Nick?
Um,
Well, before Nick answers, I didn't mean that way, but this could
Yeah,
also work if
I guess maybe if we knew the city well enough, she could be like, "Oh, we're going down this place," and it's like, "Oh, well, we're going to this place. We're getting closer."
yeah. No.
well, I guess we can select points of reference.
Yeah.
No. So you know
Moving
that
on.
the caravan is heading from the north gate, and you disclose the information of where you're probably going to assault it, and it's going to be like near the north gate as well, before they get too far in a more secluded part. Um, yeah, and basically, you guys, the Ether, she looks towards you and she starts walking in almost the opposite direction. She starts walking like south west in town, while you guys are walking northeast.
All right. Guess I'm heading with him then.
Mhm.
Good luck, Arthur. One
Yeah.
versus one, they either. Well, I guess we have the new character with you. So.
Well, I don't have to kill. I guess I can probably do this mission if you guys have found the only resistance here. And who we're going after might actually be some terrible people.
All right.
Okay.
You guys walk for a while, and about 30 minutes pass. At this point, Kaldir, you hear like you guys get into position. Leary is sitting
Well,
beside. Yes.
I want to do something before that. And while we're walking there, would like branch off into like a side alley or something.
Mm.
Place my dagger away from me, and activate the ring, so I
Okay.
can get my sword.
All right.
And I place my sword away from me, and then activate the ring again, so I can, stash away my
Switch them
mail.
out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
my short sword. So I have my long sword and a long dagger, and then just cloth.
Yeah, that's fine. You guys get into position and you hear like the rolling of wheels come up. And Titus, you guys have been walking for about 5, 10 minutes at this point through the city. You're getting into like one of the alleyways that turns to the left. That is a little bit uh, less lit. And seems a little bit more secluded than the other places that you have been, where you've seen more lights and guards patrolling. This one seems to have a lot less. Um, Fog and Arctur, you guys have been walking for a little while, and you have been walking southwest in the city. You guys get near a bunch of buildings that are kind of stacked in a row. And they seem to be built upwards. You're in more of the higher end part of the city at this point. It seems that this is most likely where, if any nobility came through, this is probably where they're going to stay. The houses are large. The leaves and gardens are a little bit more well maintained. And there is no more fish smell in this part of town. It's actually a little bit relieving that you no longer have to smell the fish carcasses and fish guts and whatever. Um, but she looks around and she smells and says, "I'm gonna quickly scan the area, so I'll be right back." She looks and she smiles to the mage and says, "Keep my companions, safe and warm or something, and use one of your spells." The mage looks at her a little bit annoyed, but then she hits the ground with one of her like claws, and she flies up into the air. You all feel like this gush of wind come from her as she flaps her wings to do so as well, and she kind of hovers close to where the moon is, and you see her slowly like turning in the air. Um, at this point, the mage he comes up to you, Fog and Arctur, and he looks up and, keeping his voice extremely hushed, he says, "The the officer and the mayor want her gone. You have just been recruited into this." And he looks towards you, Fog. "I know that you are part of or were jailed. We will release you as soon as this is complete, if it comes down to it." And he looks towards you, Arctur. "And I understand that you have recently joined the army. We'll be willing to give you some promotions if you help us out with this. Some accommodations that will allow you to patrol the safer parts of the city. Give you nicer watches and maybe a little extra spending coin at the end of each week." He looks over, and how do you guys respond?
You first, man, because I got something to say.
I don't say anything. I just nod.
If I do this, well, did I know my captain's name? The officer who was such a lousy dickbag earlier back at the barracks.
People, so his real name is Ellard, but a lot of people just call him Wine
Wine.
behind his back, though.
All right.
Captain
Elrod, right?
Elard.
Ellard. If I do this, I want Captain Ellard's position.
The man raises his eyebrow and, well, that's a little bit of a stretch. Soldier, you've just joined. I know you've beaten somebody in the fighting pits or during the sparring sessions, but we can't just give you the promotion to captain.
You think you can take her alone? Just the three of you here?
He looks up at her as she's spinning in the air. Says, as long as you don't get in the way.
Alright. I'm in. We'll see how this goes.
Um, Alright. He smiles and gives a nod. On our way back from whatever mission she has, we have set up a couple of men, and we will take her through an alley and surround her. At that point, we all strike simultaneously, and it should overpower her.
How many men?
He shrugs. Most of them are veterans. There's 6 to 8. They'll be waiting.
Thanks. Sounds like a good plan. I'm in.
He nods. He looks towards you, Fog, again. Are you in as well?
No, fuck you guys. PvP.
That's the issue I'm having, is it might end up being that way just because of what my character would actually do. He just nods.
Alright.
I look up at him, seeing his hesitation. and
I
give
don't
him a
hesitate.
Wink. Oh, God damn it. You should have hesitated. I would have given you a wink. And then you would
Okay.
have...
I don't hesitate, but you give me the wink anyway.
I gave you the
You get a strange vibe from this man as he winks at you.
He gives me a look that says,
We're gonna axe this motherfucker.
I give him a look that says, okay. That's good.
You love that original series, man.
Well, it does a new bromance is born.
We just got an affinity for dragonkind, man.
Yeah.
You don't. Alright, anyways. A few moments later, she lands, and she seems to have been looking at the area to the north gate as well. But she lands, and she looks over, and she points down towards a sewer grate and says, we'll be going down there. She looks towards the mage. Hope you don't mind getting your fancy robes a little bit wet and dirty. I don't know how well maintained your sewers are. And she smiles. The mage and the warrior, they both grumble a little bit at this and give her like a spiteful look. But she kind of ignores it, spins around, and begins walking. And she gets down and she pulls it up without much of an issue. And she begins, she doesn't like even climb down, she kind of glides down into there and waits for you guys to come by. Arctur and Fog.
I'm gonna follow her, like, unusually quickly, just to be able to catch up with her and tell her about the plot out of earshot of the mage and the other guys.
I take a little bit of extra time as I go after him to give him extra room.
Yeah, you guys get down there and you have a few moments because the mage and the other warrior kind of like they begin talking a little bit, complaining about having to go into the sewers for some fucking reason. So you get some time. What exactly do you tell her?
First, I'm just like, I assume you heard all of that.
Bits and pieces.
Yeah,
Just
there's an ambush plan for you up ahead. I don't think it's in the sewers though. This is a good alternative route to go.
Yeah, well, my own plans have to do with the sewers, so she shrugs.